Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Resilient with your host, me, Wintertooth100. And in today's episode, we're about to go end busting, and I'm just kind of having to look around to try to figure out what I may or may not need to bring. I have a couple of things. We got some wings, so look at that. We have some wings. This bear can fly again. This bear loves to fly. Fun fact, bears love flying. Don't let any other bear tell you otherwise. We love to fly. It's our favorite. Biggest thing, like one of our guys, B Squiddy, he doesn't have any wings yet, so we're gonna do a lot of this on foot in the beginning. So that's part of what we're gonna do. I talked about this little recipe during the live stream as well, and now we finally get to see if it's working. Let's do all the ones I know for certain. Those ones, and we're gonna have to play around with these. There it is. Hey, does this work in any? It does not. There it is. Wither skeleton spawn egg, and the reason why we want that guy is to team it up with this guy, the spawner. I go into a full explanation of the thought process behind this during that live stream, so if you guys want to watch it, there is actually a second channel now dedicated to the live stream stuff. So yeah, you don't have to actually, you don't have to get bogged down with content. There's a link in the description below for you to check it out, if you guys are interested in that sort of thing, the live streams that is specifically. There is a solid chance that this is going to be a longer than normal episode. Normal as in I've started swapping to doing the 10-minute episodes, and this is probably going to be longer than that. Boom, that's what I'm talking about. Woohoo! So I did some testing in the end right after we defeated the dragon in the live stream, and if you bring chests with you, which you don't have to, but if you bring chests with you and blaze rods with you, again, you don't actually have to bring those, you can just bring everything home and craft everything, but if you bring those two things with you, the blaze rods and the chests, you can get yourself quite a bit of shulker boxes in about a half an hour if you're willing to mine the obsidian and the endstone there. So you just mine some obsidian, one of the towers, mine out some endstone, and kill some endermen. Just put a little platform above your head, look them in the face, take them out with looting 3. About a half an hour of that will yield you all the shulker shells that I had, which I believe was 24 boxes worth. So half an hour will get you 24 boxes without having to travel. It's a pretty sweet deal. But let's meet up with the other guys and let's go end busting. Alright, we have made it to the end, but we don't have vocal communications up, which is perfectly fine. We are on a mission to find an end city for B Squiddy here. He does not have any wings, and he's probably gonna get killed. So once we find an end city, I mean, that's the real goal. We need to find a ship so we can get some wings for B, and then we can kind of just start flying around. I don't know if they have any rockets. I have some, but yeah, that's kind of the plan at the moment. So we just found our first city, right over there where Joe and B are, and it consisted of a single tower, and that was it. So we're still on foot because there was nothing else there, and so we don't have wings for B yet. So I guess our adventure continues. This place is dead. Like it's dead. There's nothing out here. Don't kill me. I just wanna teleport. There we go. Alright. Hopefully they can make this jump as well. I'm hoping one of them gets an endermite, because I want an endermite head as well. Always collecting pearls. Okay. There we go. We finally found an end city with a ship. So that means B is gonna be able to fly. And I told him I'll let him climb up to it by himself to get his pair of wings. So that's what I like to see. We want a shulker head. That's pretty much my main goal here, is to get shulker heads. Let's see what we can get, huh? And wow, wow. Goodies, what do we get? Woohoo! Ooh, and a topaz. Still on foot then. We are still on foot. Oh, found another ship. That was pretty quick. You can see 2 cities. One there, one there. Topazes. That's just luck. We have officially changed up, so these guys actually have a rarity system to them. We should find it's incredibly difficult to find rubies and amethyst, as those are the 2 most valuable ones. That's a surprising amount of topazes. Alright guys, so we ran around for a little bit. We found a couple cities. Nothing spectacular. After a few of them, some stuff came up for myself and for Joe and for Squiddy. So we all kind of had to just take off and do other things at the same time. So that kind of worked out. But I wanted to go over everything that we got. So I want to start off with, obviously, we have all of our shulker boxes now. So that's probably the biggest thing. Tied for probably the biggest thing is we have wings now. And more importantly, we have really good wings. And so that's really exciting. But I kind of want to go over all this other stuff that we got. We ended up getting 2 dragon eggs, and we spent one as part of a crafting recipe for the wither skeleton spawn egg. And again, in the live stream on the other channel, which is linked down below, I discuss the reasoning behind this particular egg and also why it's so difficult to craft. It's been like 2 months on the server, and we finally just now have access to this thing. But the other thing I want to talk about is look at all these extra shulker shells I have. That's ridiculous. That's 57 more. That's 2 inventories. I might just make a temporary shop, just a little stand, and sell the boxes themselves just for the players who haven't had a chance to get to the end or don't want to go to the end or whatever. There'll be maybe a little shop that I set up where we sell these shells. And then finally, the thing I want to talk about is the gems. The top row here are the ones we found. The bottom row are the ones that were already pre-existing. I found kind of a solution to the ones that players have found ahead of time, and that is to place them in the world and then break them. They will lose their name and they won't be the same. You'll see this also says NBT 2 tags, this says NBT 1 tag, and there's no way to revert these back to having their original names with the 2 tags. So if any other members are watching this on the server and you happen to have some gems that you know that you got before we did the big swap, which was today, September the 2nd, which is a Sunday, that all you have to do to make sure your gems don't get confused with the ones that are actually monetized, I suppose, just again place them down on the ground and break them with a pickaxe, or you could probably even punch it with your hand. There you go, and that'll remove its name and strip it of its value. So easy solution. We also have got these weighted, so they're supposed to be really rare. You can see I didn't find any amethyst at all. But I did find 3 rubies and 4 topazes, which I thought was a little, that's how RNG works. Sometimes you just get lucky and get the bigger things. But as far as the weights go, this thing has a really heavy weight, and it's also the only one of the gems that can appear multiple times in a box. Up to 2 gems are supposed to be able to appear in any given chest, any dungeon at a time. And it is possible that the sapphire gem actually consumes both of the slots, giving this a even heavier weight without actually making the weight in the tags greater than it already is. The second biggest weight is the aquamarine. So if this does not consume both slots, the aquamarine is supposed to have the greatest chance of consuming that second slot. Of course, that doesn't mean that these are going to take up even both slots. In fact, they can both miss, and that's happened. I actually opened up one box where both of them were rubies, and that I don't think that's supposed to happen, but I think what goes on is it says it can roll twice, and so this thing can consume both of those rolls naturally, but because it rolls twice, I think it does them separately, and so when it does the first roll, it has the option, the ability to hit the sapphire, and that sapphire could say spawn 2, and then that should cap it, I think. This is my first time ever playing with it, ever, but I think if it hits this and then this happens to say we're going to spawn 2, that'll consume both the slots right away. But it is possible for it to say, it rolls the first time and says, okay, it's going to be a ruby, it can only spawn once, that must be a ruby. But this, we happen to roll where we're going to roll for 2 gems no matter what, so it's going to roll a second time for another gem, making it possible to hit another ruby. I think that's how it works. I'm not 100% positive, but I think that's how it's supposed to be. Either way, I put it into a test world and I loaded it up, and in fact I'll just go show you right now. Alright, and here in the test world, we'll try to keep this quick because I don't want the video to run too long if we don't have to. Inside this command block basically just says generate a new chest with the loot table for specifically the desert pyramid. You have to specify one. But I ran a test with the default settings before changing any of the values for the loot tables, and I only ran a few, but this is kind of the totals of what we got from doing a few of them. We basically had a gem almost every single time. There was a couple misses, but almost every time we had a gem, and this was kind of the layout of what we got. Okay, it's, whatever. Then I tried to mess with it a second time with certain weights, and this is kind of what we got, and I was like, oh, I'm not a huge fan of that. And then I changed it up, and I was so confident that I thought I nailed it, and I still am, I think it's really great, that I did 300 chests worth where you break this, and you pick some of them up, and so I got 2 of them right there, so that's a big thing, because I want to make sure that I leave space for them. And all you do is you push the button, break the box. And you check to see if you got any more. None. Oops. Break the box. Click the button, break the box. And this is what I did. I just counted them, how many times I broke boxes, and was making sure that I had the space to pick these up as they became available. Okay, great. So we got that. And I just repeated this process again 300 times. I counted. 300 times. And so we just kept going through it until we started getting some good results. If we take a look, the last box, this was the result of 300 rolls. Notch apple for reference. Got almost, there's 2.5 stacks of sapphires, almost a whole stack of aquamarine, and so that's what I mean by this can hit twice. So even though they have very nearly the same weight, this hit slightly more because it makes sense. Not only can this hit both the slots, it can since it has a higher weight, it can sometimes produce more than, and that's perfect. That ratio worked really great. And then we got slightly less topazes, way fewer rubies, barely a handful of amethysts, and I didn't start collecting the enchanted golden apples till 100 chests into it, so it's possible that the enchanted golden apples greatly outweigh the amethyst, and I just don't know. And by greatly, I only mean by maybe 2 or 3. You see these slightly more often than the amethyst. So it seems super balanced. That balance is really spot on. Really happy with the results of that. And in fact, I can actually technically tally these as a part of it because they're the same generation, the same loot. But that's going to be it for today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed the weird speed up thing, and it's a little disorienting. Hope you enjoyed that though, and that we finally got through the end. This is episode 30, so this marks that the castle is supposed to be done. I'll tell you right now, it's not technically done, and I'll be continuing that as much as I can off camera. But We are now officially in the 5-episode grace period before the castle has to be done. We don't have a choice. It's gonna come down to, if we hit episode 35, we're just gonna have to make a portal and just move on, and then the castle will just have to get finished some other time off camera and just not even have to think about it. But episode 35, the portal must be up and ready to go for us, not the rest of the guys, but specifically for us to go in there and, you know, play around with the adventure map. Really excited about that. So hope you guys liked the video. Leave a like if you liked, subscribe if you haven't, share with your friends, and I will see you guys in the next one.